Hello and welcome. This is News Now, reaching you live from iBrandTV News Studio in Lagos, Nigeria. Coming up, APC governors insist on holding planned convention in February. Police confirm abduction of 15 persons in Niger State. Security forces fire tear gas at protesters in Sudan. Bulgaria's anti-corruption chief resigns as government seeks reforms. Thanks for joining us on News Now. I am Perpetua Fast on Repeater. Now the news in detail. We begin from Abuja, where governors of the All Progressives Congress APC deliberated on the contentious National Convention of the party and have insisted on holding the planned February convention of the APC. Chairman of the forum and Governor of Kebbi State, Abubakar Bagudu, stated this at the end of the closed-door meeting held at Kebbi Governor's Lodge. He noted that the announcement of the convention date will be made known by the caretaker committee of the party. Governor Bagudu also disclosed that the governors passed a vote of confidence on the caretaker committee of the party led by the Yobe State Governor Mai Mala Buni. Niger State Police Command has confirmed the abduction of 15 persons in Kulu, a remote village in Mashegu local government area of the state. Local authorities said the gunmen came in through Ibi, a nearby village. Similarly, suspected armed bandits and terrorists entered Mashegu village through Jigawa area of Mashegu and rustled a yet-to-be ascertained number of cattle while they broke a provision shop at Kawo village. A labor and socialist movement, the People's Alternative Political Movement, is demanding the immediate reversal of the power sector privatization. The group rejected in its entirety the hike in the price of gas and impending hikes in the price of fuel and electricity tariff.
The public meetings were convened against the background of the unfolding and rapidly deepening crisis in the energy sector. The triple energy crisis is characterized by rising gas prices, which has made gas unaffordable to the poor and even the middle classes, as well as the threatened hikes in the fuel price and electricity tariff. We insist that any government that is unable to build public refineries and enable adequate domestic refining capacity for refined petroleum products should resign immediately. In a similar vein, we call on all Nigerians to be part of the TPAM effort of mobilizing for a mass party of working class and youth on a socialist program. This is the only viable way to end the incessant attacks on the Nigerian workers and the people by the inept Nigerian ruling class. We serve notice that we shall organize and mobilize Nigerians from all walks of life to resist further hardship in general and the hikes in gas, fuel and electricity prices in particular.
It affects everybody. When they increase the price of fuel today in this country, everything is going to be affected. Everything. Now the people are already tired. They are frustrated. They are angry. They are looking for a way out. And what this regime can think about is actually also to inflict more hardship on the Nigerian workers and the poor. They said they have accepted, they've signed the 30,000 minimum wage. In how many states are they implementing that minimum wage? How many states is it paying that minimum wage? And even look at that minimum wage in the current economic context of this country. How much is that money? But what do we have? That is why we are saying that in the last analysis, we cannot just continue like this.
President Muhammadu Buhari will tomorrow unveil 1 million bags of rice paddy stacked as pyramids in Abuja. Considered to be the biggest of its type in Africa, the pyramids are located on the grounds of the Abuja Chamber of Commerce and Industries, ACCI, on Airport Road. The rice pyramids were built with 1 million bags of rice paddy planted and harvested from states across the country under the Anchor Borrowers Program, ABP. The bags of rice paddy that form the pyramids were recovered from farmers in lieu of cash to pay back for the loans they collected under the ABP. The Anchor Borrowers Program, ABP of the CBN, was launched in November 2015 to bring relief to farmers and impact the value chain of different crops in Nigeria. In an attempt to promote peace and harmony across all ethnic groups in Nigeria, the Alaafin of Oyo, His Royal Majesty Oba Lamidi Adeyemi III, and the Ooni of Ife, His Royal Majesty Oba Enito Ogunwusi, sue for peace. This is as Honorable representing Iseyin Tesiwaju Kajola Iwajowa Federal Constituency, Shina Peller commences his Ayedero Peace Tour across the country.
Speaking on behalf of the entire House of Oduduwa, it's a good initiative that must be supported, and I'm very positive that this initiative is being supported from the throne of Alaafin of Oyo as well, and that's where he got the title from. But the title is something that is very good for peaceful coexistence across board. We are supporting the move for him to continue to propagate peace, particularly amongst the youth of this country across board.
Don't do unto others what you cannot take. You will see that the world become peaceful. And it's only when we achieve peace that we can be able to achieve progress as a country. We have the 2023 general election that is drawing near. We know the election time is a time that there is always a lot of insecurity. So before even the election, we are already experiencing this kind of insecurity in Nigeria as the leader of Yoruba land, somebody that has been charged to promote peace in the land. I know that it is my first obligation, to go on a peace tour and make sure that I engage the people in a way for us to understand that we have to live together in peace and harmony. We have to love one another so that we can have a peaceful coexistence. Nigeria is a country with diverse ethnicity.
Still in the southwest, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu has visited Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, to commiserate with the people and government of Oyo State over the death of Son of Ubumosho land, Olubadan of Ibadan land, and former Governor Alao Akala. Tinubu, in his words, said he visited Ibadan to share the pains of the people and government of Oyo State over the recent death of 3 prominent indigents of the state.
Having lost the Olubadan of Ibadan, a former governor of this state, and our father, and no matter how long it is difficult to absorb the law easily. The old man, the Olubadan of Ibadan, has contributed to immense stability, peace, and love that radiated around it throughout Oyo land. Thank you for being accommodating. We gave you short hour notice, and you responded.
It's reason about politics and all that is going on around here to come and share with us at this moment that we're living. So thank you. And let me also use this opportunity to wish you well, your political quest to grow out this nation. We want the best for this country, and only the best is good enough for us.
The Lagos State government says the Marine Bridge will be partially closed from Monday, 17th January to Saturday, 2nd April 2022 for emergency repair works on the infrastructure. In a statement released by the Ministry of Transportation, the Commissioner for Transportation, Dr. Frederick Oladeyinde, said that the partial closure was to allow the federal government to carry out routine maintenance works on the bridge's infrastructure. He said that the temporary closure of the bridge is in 2 sections, Apapa outbound, which will be repaired between 17th January and 9th March 2022, and the Apapa inbound section of the bridge, scheduled between 10th March and 2nd April 2022. Still to come, Somali government spokesperson wounded in suicide bomb attack. Details and more news updates after this commercial break. Stay with us. Glad to know you stay with us. Moving on to African news, police say Somalia's government spokesperson was wounded on Sunday in an explosion at a road junction set off by a suicide bomber in the capital, Mogadishu. The Al-Qaeda-linked Islamist militant group Al-Shabaab, in comments on its Andalus radio station, claimed responsibility for the attack on Mohammed Ibrahim Molimu, who was rushed to hospital and reported to be in stable condition. At the scene of the blast, the remains of the suicide bomber were scattered on the ground close to Molimu's four-wheel drive vehicle with its back windows blown off. Prime Minister Mohamed Hussein Robo, in whose office Molimu works, called the bombing an odious terrorist attack in a statement on Twitter. Thousands of protesters against military rule in Sudan marched towards the presidential palace in the capital Khartoum again on Monday, drawing volleys of tear gas from security forces. The protesters, who gathered some 2 kilometers from the palace, blocked a main road in the Al-Diyum neighborhood and burned tires before starting their march. Huge crowds have regularly taken to the streets, demanding a return to civilian rule since the military coup on October 25th ended a power-sharing arrangement that began after Islamist autocrat Omar al-Bashir fell to a popular uprising in 2019. Military leaders said their coup saved Sudan from chaos and that they will protect people's right to peaceful protest. They reinstated Prime Minister Abdallah Hamdok in an attempt to safeguard reforms, but he resigned earlier this month. And now to the foreign scene. NATO on Monday inked a deal to bolster its cyber support for Ukraine after a sweeping hacking attack against Kyiv heightened tensions amid fears that Russia could be plotting an invasion. Ukraine said on Sunday that it had evidence Moscow was behind the attack last week that knocked out government websites, but the Kremlin has denied any involvement. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg said Friday that experts from NATO and its members were already on the ground working with Ukraine to tackle the latest cyber attack. He said the new agreement would involve enhanced cyber cooperation, including Ukrainian access to NATO's malware information sharing platform. The head of Bulgaria's anti-corruption agency, Soter Sasarov, has tendered his resignation as the new centrist government seeks legislative changes to kickstart the fight against widespread graft, a parliament spokesperson said on Monday. The coalition government led by Prime Minister Kirill Petkov, which took office last month pledging zero tolerance for corruption, plans to overhaul the agency as a first step to end a climate of impunity in the Balkan country. Bulgaria, ranked as the most corrupt European Union member state by anti-graft group Transparency International, is yet to convict a senior official on graft charges. And coming up next is business news.
Hello and welcome to Business News. I am Omobolanle Adeshuyi, and here are the stories we're tracking at the moment. An economic expert has opined that the federal government lacks the political will to leverage on the rising oil prices in order to grow the economy. Chartered accountant and economic analyst Olusegun Okwade said this earlier in the day on iBrandTV's flagship program, Business Breakfast. Okwade made the statement on the backdrop of the recent surge in the price of crude oil and the World Bank's projection that Nigeria's economy will grow by 2.5% in 2022.
The opportunity is there, but like you read, this is a projection. How much have we fared, even with that which you had in the last few years when other people were swimming over the issue of pandemic?
Right.
But the fact remains that we need the willingness, that political will on the path of our leaders who are in charge of the resources to be well determined to make sure that some of the promises in terms of infrastructure and some other things that will make the business to grow and succeed for a common man should just be there. But for me, there is vast opportunity because with this you have other arms of the businesses like the entertainment world, like the hospitality businesses coming up because we are opening up gradually.
And the Senate has begun investigation of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, for carrying out a spending-tagged security vote without appropriation by the National Assembly. The investigation follows audit queries issued against the NDLEA in the Auditor General for the Federation's annual report on non-compliance, internal control weaknesses issues in ministries, departments, and agencies of the federal government of Nigeria for the year ended 31st December 2019. The acting Auditor General of the Federation, Adolphus Agugu, had presented the report to the clerk to the National Assembly, Ojo Amos, on September 15, 2021, while the Senate and House Committees on Public Accounts began investigation of the queries. In its written response to the query, the NDLEA, however, said there was not enough allocation for security vote, and being an agency that carries out most of its activities on information and intelligence, the management had no option but to make provision from its recurrent allocation for security and information from subhead. The insurance sector's total assets have risen by 228.24 billion naira in 15 months, despite the abrupt suspension of the National Insurance Commission's segmented recapitalization exercise. The second and final phases of the Nigerian insurance industry's recapitalization exercise, which should have ended in September 2021, was halted by litigation from aggrieved stakeholders. However, latest figures showed that the sector's total assets rose by 228.24 billion naira from 1.8 trillion naira in June 2020 to 2.09 trillion naira as of September 2021. The industry regulator, the National Insurance Commission, had introduced new and segmented minimum paid-up share capital requirements for insurance companies in Nigeria in June 2020. Data obtained on Sunday from the Central Bank of Nigeria on insurance sector, general and life consolidated balance sheet for third quarter 2021 also showed that the industry's assets rose from 1.16 trillion naira as of the end of December 2017 to 1.26 trillion naira and 1.45 trillion naira as of the end of December 2018 and 2019 respectively. And Nigeria's total debt stock rose from 32.9 trillion naira as of December 2020 to 39.6 trillion naira in November 2021. The Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Mrs. Zainab Ahmed, in her presentation of the 2022 approved budget, disclosed that the government borrowed 6.7 trillion naira between January and November 2021. The new borrowing in the period under review consists of 5.1 trillion naira domestic debt and 1.6 trillion naira. The domestic debt, however, includes borrowing from the Central Bank of Nigeria, according to the presentation document. In March 2021, the Debt Management Office, DMO, had disclosed that the country's total public debt stock was 32.9 trillion naira as of December 2020. An additional 6.7 trillion naira loan means the total public debt stock would be about 39.6 trillion naira as of November 2021. The DMO had disclosed that the country's total public debt increased to 33.1 trillion naira at the end of the first quarter of 2021 from 32.9 trillion naira in December 2020, showing an increase of about 200 billion naira. In the second quarter of 2021, the total debt stock rose by 2.4 trillion naira to 35.5 trillion naira by June 2021. The federal government has distributed 80 laptops to female farmers trained in information and communication technology and modern agricultural practices, as well as empowered widows and the vulnerable in South-South region. The Director General, National Center for Women Development, Dr. Ashabe Bashir, said during the training in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State that the beneficiaries were drawn from various farmers' associations across the South-South. Speaking at the event with the theme Engendering Agricultural Innovation Through ICT, He said the training was designed to expose women to new techniques in agriculture that could help farmers in improving on their agricultural practices and methods. According to Bashir, as Nigeria is predicted to become the world's third most populous nation by 2050, agriculture should be embraced by all to be able to feed such a growing population. The federal government has set up a committee to look into the provision of health insurance for retired federal workers. The Executive Secretary of Pension Transition Arrangement Directorate, Dr. Chioma Ejikeme, disclosed this at the Southeast Stakeholders Forum on Thursday in Enugu. She said the government, under the auspices of the Federal Ministry of Health, has established a ministerial committee to look into the issue of providing health insurance for senior citizens. Ejikeme added that the web-based platform was designed to enable its pensioners to easily confirm this from the comfort of their homes or neighborhood using either a smartphone or a computer system. According to her, the solution takes the pensioner through a three-step confirmation process that ends with a text message response. And moving on to the foreign scene, slaps and sanctions on Mali, according to the Economic Community of West African States, which has sanctioned the Mali government and activated its standby military force following the failure of transitional authorities in the country to organize elections. In response, the transitional government of Mali has condemned the sanctions and imposed its own countermeasures. Meanwhile, the refusal of Guinea's ruling junta to apply the sanctions is likely to lead the firmer action against the second country, also currently under suspension from ECOWAS. In a joint statement issued on January 9th, ECOWAS head of state and government said that the country's transitional authorities had failed to comply with an agreement reached with ECOWAS in September, which maps a return to civilian rule in line with the country's own transition charter. A coup in May last year was Mali's second in the last 2 years. And on the foreign scene, Amazon has scrapped plans to stop accepting Visa credit cards in the UK. The e-commerce giant was expected to prevent Brits from using a Visa-issued credit card on its platform from January 19. But in a statement on Monday, the firm said the change will no longer take place. Amazon initially made the shock announcement in November, citing high fees Visa charges for processing credit card transactions. Visa at the time said it was very disappointed in the move and would work towards a resolution with Amazon. The two companies have locked horns in the past, with Amazon announcing plans to introduce a 0.5% surcharge on Visa credit cards in Australia and Singapore last year. It's not yet clear why Amazon made the U-turn on its plan to ditch Visa card credit cards in UK, but nor whether the decision is the final or temporary. Well, that's it from the business desk. I am Omobolanle Adeshuime. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.
We now join Michelle Abanam for entertainment news.
Hello, this is Entertainment News. I am Michelle Abanum. American rapper Kanye West has revealed that his estranged wife Kim Kardashian prevented him from seeing his second daughter, Chicago, on her birthday. In a video shared online by the billionaire rapper, he claimed that he wasn't able to attend his daughter's birthday because Kim refused to give him the location. This is wishing my daughter a happy birthday. I wasn't allowed to know where her party was. There's nothing legal that says this is the kind of game that is being played. It has affected my health for the longest, he said. The music star said he decided to release the video because he doesn't want his daughter to grow up and assume he purposely didn't show up for her birthday. There are reports that Kanye's major grievance with Kim is that she prevented him from seeing his kids because of her new love, Pete Davidson. Interestingly, Kim hasn't introduced Pete to the kids. Moving on, popular Nigerian singer Adekunle Kosoko, professionally known as Adekunle Gold, has revealed to his fans that he would be dropping a new single. Adekunle Gold made this known via his Twitter handle on Saturday night, stating that the single precedes his forthcoming album. The new single is titled Mercy, while his fourth studio album is titled Catch Me If You Can. New single Mercy out January 21st. New album Catch Me If You Can out February 4th. Save the dates, he wrote. AG Baby, as he's fondly called, has been dropping teasers ever since he announced the single and the album. While many of his fans were ecstatic to take a peek at the link he dropped for the album, others said they would wait till he drops the album in due time. And that's it on Entertainment News. I am Michelle Abanum.
Let's join Samson Olede for sports news.
Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang has been sent back to Arsenal by Gabon for medical examinations after he was diagnosed with heart lesions. The 32-year-old had recently been infected with COVID-19 but has returned to training since and felt healthy. Arsenal last week said they had been in touch with Aubameyang and are confident that his condition is not serious. Aubameyang did not feature in either of Gabon's first two group games at this year's AFCON, and the forward tested positive for coronavirus on his arrival in Cameroon for the tournament, but he returned a negative test last week before training on Thursday. Aubameyang has heavily been linked with a move away from Arsenal after being stripped of the club captaincy in December following a disciplinary breach. He last played for the Gunners on the 6th of December during a 5-minute appearance as a substitute in the defeat at Everton. And still talking sports update at this hour, world number 1 Novak Djokovic has arrived Serbia on Monday following his deportation from Australia on Sunday. The federal court in Australia upheld a government decision to cancel his visa, capping a day of drama over the country's COVID-19 entry rules and his unvaccinated status. The unanimous ruling by a 3-judge federal court dealt a final blow to Djokovic's hopes of chasing a record 21st Grand Slam win at the Australian Open, which started on Monday. Supporters gathered at the airport in Belgrade, waving the national flag and chanting, "We love Novak." Under Australia's immigration laws, 34-year-old Djokovic cannot be granted another visa for 3 years, but Prime Minister Scott Morrison has said he may be allowed entry sooner under the right circumstances. But questions have also been raised over Djokovic's participation in the French Open, the next Grand Slam tournament on this year's calendar. France's parliament has just given its final approval to a law requiring people over the age of 16 to have a certificate of vaccination to enter public places, including sports venues. And that's it on Sports Update at this hour. I'm Samson Olede.
On that note, we wrap up news now this hour. Please log on to iBrandTV website and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more updates. I am Perpetua Fasumi Peter. To enjoy the rest of the day. Bye for now.